What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Slice of TV. We are here to talk about the season finale of The Last of Us Season 2, and I am joined once again by my good friend and fellow podcaster, Wyatt from Cinema Trip Reviews. Wyatt, how we doing today, buddy?
Would be a lot better, but we're going to get into all that as far as the season finale goes. But I'm doing good in the meantime. Hope everybody else is doing well.
Yeah. So thank you seriously to everybody who's come along on this journey of ours through this this season. It has definitely been a different journey than when we went through season 1.
Yeah, big time.
And so we're going to talk about episode 7, and we're going to talk about our overall thoughts on the season as a whole, and maybe we'll give you guys our, theories on where the show's going to go from here. Because even though we've talked about how rough this season has been, I will be back for season 3. I will be watching it because it's, I'm one of those guys. I'm a completionist, especially when it comes to TV. I've already done with 2 seasons. I can't stop now, even though I kind of know where the journey's going to a degree. At least I think I do. I mean, based on this season, I guess I don't anymore.
Yeah.
But, so episode 7 is called Convergence. It was written by Neil Druckmann, Craig Mazin, and Haley Gross, who wrote the episode prior. And we are back during the normal timeline here. The last episode was literally all flashbacks, and the episode ended with Ellie getting back to the theater where Dina and Jesse are. Mm-hmm. And that's where the episode starts. We're literally back in the theater, and Jesse is trying to remove the arrow from Dina's leg, and it's pretty intense. The thing about this episode is that there are a lot of intense scenes, but it ultimately doesn't feel like a season finale. Like, this feels like there should be at least a couple episodes left, to get that solid ending. But as the season has shown us, we just like to cram a bunch of stuff into one episode and be like, yep, this is it. Till next season. Here you go. But it
kind of felt like how the last episode left off. Like that same type of feeling where like it's a cliffhanger, but there should definitely be more that's coming like next week or something. Like, it definitely feels like there should be an episode 8 next week or this coming week. And it's like, I don't know, it doesn't have that. Like, we know the story's not over, but it doesn't feel like a good bookend to end the season on until we have to wait another year and a half, 2 years for the season 3 or whatever.
I really hope that they were filming season 2 and season 3 like back to back. I really do.
I hope so.
Because to be honest, you took 1 episode away from us. Season 1 had 8 episodes. Season 2, 7. And like we've talked about, it doesn't feel like we've gotten enough, and we've just gotten too much stuff crammed in together, or we've just gotten stuff that just doesn't need to be in the show or should have been done differently in the show. And if you want to know what episodes those are, go back and listen to all of our other reviews on it, because I don't really want to keep repeating myself, because I feel like that's what we're doing a lot, because it's the frustration that's coming out of us as fans of the game and of season 1. We're just so frustrated with what is being written. Because I will say it again, the writing is the major issue of this show. The direction that Craig Mazin is putting these actors in, especially like I'm going to keep defending her because she's good. Bella Ramsey is not terrible in this role, but I think she's just being written in such a way that it just doesn't make sense. And I don't know if it's because of who she is. I don't know what they're trying to do, but Ellie is just not Ellie. It's not.
Yeah.
And I know it's like, well, we don't want Ellie to be that way. And it's like, but that's what we want. We want her to be strong. That's the point of the story. We want her to be strong-willed. We want her to not give a shit until something like drastic happens, which there is a scene in this episode that is taken directly from the game, and the outcome is very different because of an additional piece of the scene that Craig Mazin went, what if we did this? And it just doesn't feel right, because it doesn't, I guess it just adds more guilt to Ellie's plate.
I guess. But I mean, that I believe what you're talking about is the aquarium scene. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you could have had it play out exactly how it is in the game and have still hit those emotional feelings. I mean, it's the same person that she's dealing with. They just kind of have it done in a slightly different way, and I just don't understand the weird change. Like, because Ellie feels the same type of way about it either way, because she's pregnant and everything. So it's
Yes.
yeah, but like I feel like if they did Ellie justice and had her acting or have her feeling how she is in the game, I could kind of get over a lot of the other stuff, like the messiness and kind of
Mhm.
jumbled stuff as far as a story. I feel like I'd be able to get past that, but it's that on top of everything else, and I'm just like, well, it just feels very messy at this point. I mean, it didn't. I mean, we talked about it over the past 4 episodes, and it continues through this one. This one definitely seems, even though they insert a lot of different stuff from the game in this one, as far as, you know, basic, like scene by scene type thing, like shot for shot, they did incorporate some of those elements in here, but they definitely added some weird things that didn't need to be added just for the sake of having an extra action piece in the episode. Maybe they thought the episode was too boring, so they wanted to add another scene into there. But yeah, it's the same thing. And I know we keep talking about the same issues every week, but it keeps happening every
Yep.
single week at this point.
It's just not being fixed, and it's because, you know, when Craig Mason's writing this show, he's not seeing the problems when he's putting it on the page.
Yeah.
We're seeing it as the audience as every week, but guess what? The show's already filmed, so there's no way that Craig Mason could look at the episode's reception and go, okay, when we film this next one, we'll make sure it's
Yeah.
what everybody's complaining about. We'll try to course correct and get there. And I get it. Like, you're trying to put your own spin on the story. That's what he did in season 1, but it still felt so loyal to the source material that you accepted it because it actually fit. It fit well, you know? But this is just so much change that it's starting to just not make sense anymore. Like, there's
Yeah.
a scene in this episode, and it might be what you were mentioning, where she knows where Abby is. She figures it out.
Mhm.
She gets a boat. She goes. She gets hit by like a massive wave. She washes up on Scar Island. She
Yeah.
gets grabbed by some scars, and
Yep.
she's hung up, and they're gonna kill her until Isaac and the wolves attack the island, and they get distracted and they got to go protect the island, so Ellie's able to escape. It does nothing to the story because nothing happens to Ellie. She almost dies,
Yeah.
but we know she's not going to. But literally, it's she gets there, she gets taken, and then she immediately hops back on the boat and just
Yep, it just
continues the
leaves.
same road. Yeah, like, what was that for? That wasn't for
Yeah.
anything. When they show Isaac with all the wolves on the boat, and Ellie's like watching them, and they go off. If we had seen the explosions from the distance as Ellie is just going her way,
Yeah.
without all of that additional stuff, it would have been just as effective.
Yeah. You would still have those questions like, oh, I wonder what's going on over there.
Exactly. I mean,
That
we
way you
kind of could
kinda have
figure
that
it out, right?
basis.
Because we know the wolves and the scars are fighting.
Yeah.
But we didn't need, because to be honest, that is a scene that is taken from the game, but it's Abby who
Yeah.
gets strung up, and
That's
it's a
my
really
biggest
intense
problem.
scene.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem about it is because they just copy and pasted the same exact thing that happens to Abby, and Abby's definitely feels more like, for lack of a better term, just meaningful, like within the context of the story and the way that she gets out of that predicament with the characters that she's involved with through
Mhm.
the rest of the story in the game. And you just by the end of the episode, that's already going to happen because when you see Abby, she has the noose marks around her neck. So
Yeah.
we're going to see this exact same scene again next season. I guarantee
Yep.
you. So what was the point of putting Ellie through this? Just because you wanted another extra action piece, you couldn't have figured out another way to, I don't know, have Ellie, have some sort of confrontation somewhere on her way to the boat, or even with those people getting on the boat or something. You had to just copy and paste the exact same scene with that Abby has later in the story. And are they doing this just to either because they needed more action in the show, or are they doing this just to kind of cement the kind of parallels between Abby and Ellie, which is like that. If they did that for that reason, that is way too on the nose.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's the whole point of the story is like these similarities and parallels between Abby and Ellie. but you don't have to have them doing the exact same things or following the exact same story beats as each other. That just doesn't, I don't know. It just feels very weird. Watching that scene with Ellie, I was like, okay, I can understand maybe if they just kind of move this section to Ellie's story instead of having it with Abby. But by the end of it, you see the noose marks on Abby's neck, and I was like, well, what was the whole point of doing this then? If we're just going to see it again? Because that'll be the third time we saw it. So we saw some random dude get hung up and sliced open. Now we saw Ellie, and then we're eventually going to see Abby. So it's like, how many times do we need to see these people being hung up and possibly gutted?
Like, did
I don't know.
Do anything else?
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like they definitely could have figured out something else if they wanted to do like have Ellie kill somebody or maybe put a couple extra goons at the aquarium she runs into. I don't know. They could have figured out something other than just having her be on that island for 5 minutes and then just getting on the boat and leaving again. I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
It was just so shoehorned in, and it's Craig Mazin over there. Like, you see what we did, gamers? You see that? And there's like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense to the character. Like, it doesn't happen.
Like, I've been seeing what you've been doing for the past 7 weeks, and I don't like it, Craig.
Yeah, you need to stop it. So the whole thing with Jesse, like, I think Jesse being a pivotal part of this episode was fine. I actually like the character. He's like one of my favorite characters of this season because his actions are so justified. Like, the way he treats Ellie, it's like, yeah, I'd be the same fucking way. She sucks. Yeah. She's like, she's doing everything for herself. Like, he is literally telling her exactly the exact truth. And like, her reasoning behind it's like, you know, you're protecting your community, but like, Jackson isn't my community. Like, you guys adopted me, so it is currently, but like, my community was Joel. And so like, that argument is fine. But the problem is, and we've talked about, is the fact that Ellie her actions are just so all over the place that it just doesn't make sense. Like, when she makes that speech, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to the way that she's been. But I mean, I do like the way that they wrote Jesse in the series, and it's unfortunate. I mean, we knew it was coming, but it was unfortunate to see him go. And it was so great to watch some reactions from people who didn't play the game, who were just, they loved Jesse. And it's just like, yep, that was how it was in the game, guys. It wasn't ceremonious. He just opens a door, boom, dead. And people are like, is he really dead? Yes, he's
gone.
Dead. He's shot in the face.
Very unceremonious, just drops as soon as he goes to that door. But I like the decent bit of character development they did give to him, because we haven't got to deal with him a lot through the past 3 or 4 episodes. A lot of the time we got to see him was in the first couple before like they left Jackson and everything. So I actually really liked what they were doing in this episode and how mad he was, and because he made a lot of good points. And I mean, he knew about Dina being pregnant before anybody even told him, because of him pulling the arrow out, and she didn't want to take the shot of whatever he was giving her.
Did he know that arrow? Did he know in the game?
I think it was kind of a similar situation. Like, he guessed without anybody telling him. Like, he kind of read between the lines. But he made a lot of good sense. And I mean, he was like, even when he had that argument with Ellie, he's like, well, I have something that I have to take care of now. Like, I'm going to be a father, so we have to go out and get this done so we can go back and so I can take care of my kid.
I mean, it's good foreshadowing when he is with Ellie and he's talking about that. He's like, I have a kid. I have somebody to take care of, so I can't die. Like, I cannot die here. And the irony is he ends up dying there, and it sucks. And
I mean, I didn't even mind the his little whenever they do come back for Ellie, his little moment of clarity where he's like, yeah, I kind of understand that you would do the same thing for me if I was in the same position. And I get the argument on both sides, but Jesse really has more of an argument to be mad over Ellie than anything, just because of how much of a loose cannon she is.
Everything that he is mad about is super justified. And I think another issue that I have is the fact that Tommy is just so kind of nonchalant about everything. I feel like he should be pissed too, because I mean, I feel like he knew Ellie was going to do something like this, but the fact that we're dragging Jesse in here too, it should piss him off. Like, he should be like, Joel is gone. I am your protector now. Like, I am your your parent. Like, I need to watch over you because that's what Joel would want. And he's just kind of like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? Yep, it's okay. Everything's gonna be fine. You're like,
Yeah.
what? Where's the sense of urgency? Where's the anger behind, like, why are we here? Like, I get
Yeah.
it. Like, he was my brother. Like, I want revenge too. But it just, like, the way that this is all going down just isn't it. That's why in the game
Yeah,
it
it's
made a
just
whole lot of
messy.
sense. Like, in the game when Joel dies, he's done. Like, he is in Ellie's shoes. He goes on his own, and
Mhm.
you know, we get a similar scene where you hear wolves over the radio, like, talking about, like, they're getting
Yeah,
sniped
the
at, and you
snipers.
find out it's Tommy, and that's a very similar situation that the game
Mhm.
plays out. And but yeah, it's just it's not even like what he's doing outside of everything. It's when you have a conversation with Tommy, it's just like it's just another day. You're like,
Yeah. I
"Mm."
think the only thing I could think why they did that is because they didn't wanna have 2 characters that are just pissed off at Ellie the whole time as far as Tommy
I
and
mean, I
Jesse.
get it, but you also got to figure the situation. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you can have more than one
Exactly.
person pissed. Like, guess what? Dina's pissed too because she found out about why this is all happening.
Oh, yeah, because she told her. But, I think the other reason is because Joel's gone and the way that they found Ellie there with, the bodies and everything at the
Mm,
aquarium. I think because Joel's gone, maybe Tommy is kind of inserting himself as that father figure since she doesn't have anybody else, and that's why he's just, like, wants to make sure she's okay. Because he can be mad at her anytime, like, once they're
right.
out of there and
Yeah.
kinda give her a talking down to, but, like, he wants to make sure that she's okay because she's just broken at that point, and it's like, I mean, we kinda should have been broken leading up to this as well,
She should have been
like,
broken a
broken and
long time
depressed.
ago. Yeah.
Exactly, because, I mean, we talked about that endlessly throughout this whole season, but I think it even cements it even more because anytime you see Abby, she's fucking locked in. She's pissed and she just wants revenge. And it's like, what, you can do it for Abby, but you can't do it for Ellie? Like, I don't understand why
Like,
like
people
why
wanna see
can't
Ellie's
Ellie be
journey.
mad and pissed off and
Yeah.
depressed all the time? Like that's how she's supposed to be in the game. Why can you do it for Abby but not Ellie? I don't know. It's like they're being picky and choosy about Ellie for some weird reason. Like
Yeah.
she's not that complex of a character. I mean, I feel like they're trying to make it more make her more complicated than she actually is.
Yeah, they're making it they're writing her to the point where her actions just don't make sense to
Yeah.
how she's feeling or how they're
Mhm.
portraying her feelings. I don't know. It's just it's so weird. And
It
the
is.
whole aquarium scene in the game is fantastic. It
Mhm.
plays out very similar to what we see in the show, but the difference being is Ellie shoots Owen. He doesn't die immediately like he does in the show. He and then she fights Mel. Like, they are, like, in a wrestling match, like, and because Mel comes at her with a knife, and they, like, wrestle for it, and then Ellie is able to, like, get out of it, take the knife, and stab Mel in the neck. And then it's
Okay.
Owen on the ground bleeding, and he's like, "Look," or,
Yeah, he tells her.
yeah, and
Yeah.
she unzips the jacket and to reveal that she's pregnant. And that, because throughout that up until that point, Ellie is just determined to kill them. But then once she realizes that, she breaks down and Tommy shows up, and it's kinda similar. But the fact of, like, the magic bullet, she shoots Owen
Yeah.
and then it hits her in the
It
neck.
goes through her neck, like grazes her neck somehow.
Yeah, and I guess it must have hit the big artery that kills
Like,
you
yeah, why
instantly.
wasn't she trying to kill the other person? Like,
Yeah.
because she didn't know she was pregnant and everything, like, it looked like I mean, Owen was clearly reaching for a gun. She shoulda just, like, went pop, pop, try to kill them both, and then if you wanna discover she's pregnant, that's whatever, but, like, to act like Ellie wasn't gonna try to kill her anyway or
Yeah.
something, I don't know, it's weird.
And then the weirder thing that was added that just didn't need to be added, I guess it's just to cause more trauma for Ellie, is when Mel's like, "You gotta cut it out of me." And I was like,
Yeah, dude,
"What?"
that threw me for a loop. I was like, "Is she really gonna cut this baby out
I was like,
on the
"What
show?"
where are we going with this?"
Yeah,
My reaction was Ellie's reaction. "What?"
yeah, I was
Like,
concerned.
what are we
What?
talking about here?
Excuse me?
And I guess it's the point of seeing her die and beg for her to save her baby is, like, what really sets Ellie, but it's like, no, she like, To be honest, I like the whole fact of her. I think it would have been so much better to have them have that fight, and then she kills Mel, not knowing she's pregnant, and then discovers it when it's too late.
Yeah,
But the
she's like,
thing
"No,
is,
no, 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 I can't believe I just did this."
right?
Like she's just going through shock, pretty much.
But
Yeah,
but the thing is that they wrote Mel as I don't want to be a part of this. Like I didn't want to do she didn't want to do this at all. But like Abby kind of like forced her to join in, and because she's with Owen, because Owen's the dad, right? Owen was the father of the
Owen's a
baby.
dad, and
Yeah.
I think Mel is also like the medic of the group. I think if I remember correctly, she's the one
Right.
she's the medic out of them all. Even like through Abby's part of the game, she knows about medicine and everything like
Yeah.
that. I think that's why she's there too.
But it was they wrote her in a way where it's like she didn't want to be violent. She didn't like violence wasn't her thing. She was just there for assistance. Like when Joel gets killed, she really didn't want to be a part of that whole thing. And you can kind of see how she is here. And so I get that's why they did it. But the whole like cut the baby out of me thing was like, what? Huh?
Yeah, it was a little much.
I mean, I'm glad it went. It didn't get to that point where you'd see Ellie fucking trying to rip a baby out of her. I think I would have been like, I think
that
I'm
movie
done.
Inside or whatever it was called.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I think this is over for me, guys. Last of Us, it's been fun, but I get it. It's traumatizing. It's just I don't know. I just prefer the game version of this whole scene because I think the end result is better than this, where it's like, because it's supposed to be Joel's gun is powerful enough that it shot through Owen and then hit somebody else. I'm like, what? Okay, sure.
Yeah, and not everything needs to be like used as like shock value or stuff like that. Like it would have been perfectly fine and emotional just the same way with Ellie just discovering she's pregnant and just breaking down right there. Like not believing what she did. And it would have been the same exact result. We didn't need to go through this whole like I need you to cut the baby because to me, at least for gamers and stuff, I'm sure that definitely threw everybody off. Like what are we doing here? What is like I don't understand. Like, is she actually going to do this? And like, are they going to have another baby around for some reason? Like, what's going to happen? And then, of course, it goes the way that it goes. But yeah, I felt like it was a little much. It was like stuff that was added just to be added for like no reason whatsoever. You would have had the same effect regardless if she would have done that or not.
So we're back at the theater, and it's a whole thing, with them trying to plan what they're going to be doing. We get the whole thing with actually, was this scene where Ellie like has to take off her shirt and Dina's like taking like is that before?
She has like all the cuts and bruises. Yeah, cuts and bruises on her back because that's when she tells her about Joel and everything too.
That's it. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. This whole Dina Ellie thing has just kind of been falling apart since, to be honest, since the beginning, because I just don't think it was written right.
Time.
No, it just wasn't written very well, and we get this whole scene where Ellie is completely vulnerable because she's taken her shirt off for Dina to have Dina take care of her, and she's kind of telling her Joel's true intentions and what actually happened and why we're here. And Dina's like, oh, so all this shit's happening because Joel just decided to kill a bunch of people because the possibility of you creating being part of a cure, like, yeah, that just sets her off. And that's the whole thing that kind of sets everything in motion. It was like, no, we just got to go home.
Yeah. And I want to know, like, because in the game, at least, she kills the whole crew by this time, Ellie. What happened to the other members of the crew? Because she only killed like Owen and Mel and Nora.
So
that's it.
Manny.
There's like 2 or 3 other people, right?
Was there? Oh, I thought it was just Manny and
the dude with the scar on his face because she cut him. And I think there's somebody
Manny.
else.
That's the guy who was in like the sniper nest.
Yeah, in the tower. But I think there was somebody else too.
Oh, I thought it was just him and.
But either way, I mean, there's people that are part of the crew that are still left. So like, what's going on with them? They forgot about them.
It's. Yeah.
But that whole like ending pretty much plays like almost exactly how the game is, like within the theater and everything. It's like shot for shot, almost exactly how it is in the game.
Yeah, we get the kind of the the conversation between, Ellie and Jesse about, why she's doing this and how he kind of understands why she's doing it, and you get the whole thing of the fact that, like, if it was him, she would be doing the same thing. Like, if he ended up, if he was killed in the way that Joel was, like, she would do the same for him. And that's kind of their way to, become friends again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't last
pretty
long.
No.
Because we hear gunshots and they run out there, and as soon as the door opens, Jesse gets one right in the face. He's done.
Yeah.
And
Dunzo.
Ellie, it's Abby. She's back.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, she has the new, like, mark on her neck, which is like, again, why? Like,
Yeah.
okay. I mean,
What
we're gonna
the
see it
hell?
in the third season, because not to skip ahead to our thoughts of what next season is gonna be. It's gonna be an Abby season, everybody. It's
Oh yeah,
it's
that whole next
100% an
season's
Abby
gonna be
season.
Abby.
It's literally gonna
Yeah.
be this season, but in Abby's perspective. So
Yep.
strap in. So hopefully it's better. There's just the writing is better.
I
for
hope
Abby.
so. We'll see. I have a feeling they wrote it all at the same time.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, she's there. She, Jesse's dead. She's got Tommy on the ground. I think he was already shot. But he's like, pleading, and Ellie's pleading with Abby, and she's pissed because she's like, you killed my friends. And it's like, well, yeah, and if I was Ellie, I'd be like, well, that's why I'm here. You killed my friend. Like what the hell? Why don't we just aim guns at each other and just shoot each other at the same time? We'll just end this whole thing. All right.
Yeah.
No one's moving on. And she, Ellie's like, I'm the one you want because I'm the immune one. I was the one who was going to become the cure, And Abby points the gun at her, and then it goes black. I was like,
well, that's how it kind of cuts off in the game too. Is she goes, it looks like she's going to shoot Ellie, and then it cuts to that black, and then it goes into Abby's story more, like her backstory and such.
Right. She does shoot Tommy though before that, right? In the game, doesn't
she kills Tommy. Yeah, she kills Tommy in the game.
Like when
but
Ellie's
yeah, after
pleading,
she
right?
supposedly, after she like shoots Ellie and it cuts to black, that's when you like have that big flashback of Ellie, not Ellie, Abby as like a kid with her dad going on that like little like adventure type thing where he takes her someplace and everything.
That's right.
That's where you kind of have the whole mirroring between Abby and Ellie. And I mean, it seems like they're going a little farther with that in the show, more literally. Like they're literally following the same path in certain ways. They're going through the exact same things. And I don't think you need to go that far with it. I think just their plots and how they unfold is enough to tell you, yeah, they have a lot of similarities. You don't need to have them go through the exact same traumas as like being hung by the scars and everything. That doesn't happen to Ellie in the game. Like, you don't need that add extra stuff to make them,
the same
alike. Yeah, exactly. It's already set in stone if you follow the story how it is in the game, that they're the same, and that's they're going to end up meeting together at some point.
Yeah, I mean the game did it pretty damn well. It worked out, so I don't know why we needed this, addition where we have to they have to have every bit be the same. It's like, no, that's not the story. Is literally Joel kills Abby's dad. Abby's mad. She seeks revenge on Joel. She kills Joel, who is Ellie's dad. Ellie's mad, so she goes after Abby. Like, it's like, there's your connection, people. We don't need the fact that they have to. They're gonna get strung up by a tree. It's the same way. Like, what? Stop it. I get it. Like, not everyone who watches a show has played the game. And so I think a lot of, and I really want to know, like, if you're listening or watching this, please let me know your thoughts. If you've never played the game, I want to know how you feel after this season, because clearly from listening to us talk about it, we're frustrated because we love the game so much. We think it's wonderfully written, and the show just, for us, is not. It's just all over the place. So I really want to know what people think of the show, having no knowledge of the game. Because I feel there are
Yeah.
people out there who's just like, oh, this is really like really well done, and everything is like everything feels right because they don't have that history. And I think that's our our crutch
Yeah,
is
that's
the
the
fact that
biggest
we know we
hangup.
have all that information, and we're just like, I get the
Yeah.
change, but it's going a little too far here. Let's step it back.
Yeah, I think the biggest, like, thing is you have all these great and memorable scenes that you're lifting directly from the game and incorporating in the show, but because of everything kind of surrounding these scenes, they all kind of ring a little bit hollow. Like, they don't have the same impact that they do in the games because of everything leading up to or after that point. It just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have the same emotional impact as the game. So yeah, I would love to hear like everybody's thoughts that hasn't played the game. Like, is the show working for you? Like, did you think this season was as good as the first? Because I mean, to me, the first season was great. They followed the first game almost to a T. They added things that I didn't mind them adding because they didn't change the actual story itself much as far as the main characters. They didn't go off the beaten path. They didn't really kind of change different characters' motivations or anything like that. I really enjoy the first season, so that's why it's so weird that they went this far out of their way to kind of make this second game that much different for some reason. It's so strange, man.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride for this season. So I think that's a good place to end our discussion on episode 7.
Yeah,
Let's I guess talk about our final thoughts on the season as a whole. I mean, you've kind of made your case. I think we've made our
yeah,
case on the fact that we're just disappointed. This was a very disappointing season. In the beginning, I wanted to give this season a chance because there were people that were coming out of the cracks like, oh, why did they do this? Why did they do that? And you're just like, it's fine. And or you get a lot of the Bella Ramsey. Bella Ramsey's terrible. She should be recast, which is I'm still going to stand by Bella Ramsey. I don't think
yeah. She's
she is
great.
not the problem. It's what's written on the page. Craig Mazin, if I'm going to point my finger at anyone and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's going to be a Craig Mazin. And I need
Hmm.
Neil Druckmann to bring Craig into the room and be like, listen, this is my baby. What are we doing here? Like, I know he's a creator and I know he's involved. I mean, he wrote this episode, he wrote the last 2 episodes. So he's clearly very involved with the show, but I feel like he's not getting the full creative, like,
No, it doesn't feel like it.
footprint that he should be, especially since, they're his, he wrote the original story. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just I think the best word to describe this season is not hate, because I think that's the easiest word people could use is I hate this season sucked.
Yeah, it's thrown around too much nowadays.
Yeah, it was disappointing. I didn't
Yeah.
hate watching any of the episodes this season. I didn't hate watching this season. I was just by the end of it, I was just disappointed in the direction that they were putting certain characters in, and mostly it's Ellie. And it's unfortunate because she is the literal main character of the show now. She is the person that I think a lot of people are super focused on. And when you're not writing that character the way she should be written, people are going to be very disappointed, like us.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it,
I mean, you hit nail on the head. It's that's the word, is disappointing when it comes to this season.
yeah. And I mean, I know that season 3 is probably already written. And to be honest, I would not be shocked if they had done the filming back to back.
It
I
would make
think,
sense because most of the actors they're gonna be using aren't really in this season, so they could have been filming it, like, simultaneously or just
right.
right after they did this season,
Yeah, because we're gonna be getting Abby's story in season 3, and it's gonna be from the
Yeah,
start
that's
of
the
Ellie and Dina getting there. So we're
yeah,
gonna have
that's the
all those dead.
cliffhanger of the
Yeah,
episode is we're
yeah,
rewinding back to Seattle day 1.
yep. So that means Nora's back, Owen's back, Mel's back. We get to see them all again. Because there was an article, someone shared an article with me about, Craig Mazin says, "Oh, be prepared. There's a lot of story left to tell. Some characters that are dead." And it's like, well, yeah, it's all of Abby's crew that Ellie took
Yeah,
out. We know, like,
exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know. That's the biggest thing is because the first season I really liked because they follow the story. I mean, the first game doesn't it has its emotional bits to it, but I think they were a little easier to follow. Where this game, I really enjoyed the second one because of how emotional and how deep they go as far as like these characters and their psyches and everything. And that's why I think it's the so disappointing, is because most of those emotional beats just don't hit like they do in the games. And it's because they're not following that same formula, that same structure that they had within the games. They're changing too much stuff around as far as the different characters or their motivations or just how Ellie is in general. Like you said, the main character isn't even how she should be, or even how she should be reacting after some of these things. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a Bella Ramsey thing, but they're doing the character justice for Abby. And I mean, we'll see more of that in season 3 if they actually continue with that, if she's going to stay the same. But like, I don't know. I just don't get why they're able to do that with Abby and not Ellie. Like, I understand you want to have that relationship with Dina, but Ellie should still be like not joking around and having fun all the time on her wacky vacation to Seattle with Dina. Like, no, she's on a mission to get revenge for someone killing her father figure. She shouldn't be out here joking around happy all the time. She needs to be depressed and upset and pissed off and want revenge. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. We shouldn't have these moments specifically after she kills one of their crew or she hears about their crew. Like, she should be like this all the time.
She's putting her life on the line. She's putting her life, Dina's life, on the line to kill these people. Like, she doesn't have backup, you know? And
like the way Ellie was in this episode, she should have been like through most of this season.
Yes.
Like how she was.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we see that Bella Ramsey can be that type of Ellie. She has the capability, but it's the fact of like any little thing happens to her and now she's like a scared little kitten. Like, she's just, it's wild because I remember back in season 1, the episode, like I think the first episode when Joel and Tess get Ellie, like when they first meet her and they're taking her through, I think, Boston, and Ellie sees either Tess or Joel killing somebody, and she has just got this like amazed, like, oh my God face, like, I want to do that type thing. Like, she enjoys the violence. But yet sometimes in this, it's like she's terrified of it. And you're like,
yeah,
what happened to, like, you should be even worse than that, Ellie. Like, you should be even way far gone. So
especially with the way they make her out as like being like this loose cannon and everything. And it's like, we rarely even get that, where she's just throwing herself into harm's way just to get to these people or whatever. We don't even get that very often.
No. We get the whole thing where she finally agrees they need to go home, and then they're up because they hear gunshots, so they figure out it's Tommy, but they're up in the top of that building, and Ellie figures out the riddle that dying Nora said, and she sees the whale, and then that like clicks. No, I'm not going home. I'm going to get Abby, and you're like, what is happening? So if you just didn't see that whale, you would have just completely ignored it and left. Like, no. The whole thing should have been Jesse shows up, everything happens with them, and then like Ellie's just like, no, I am not leaving until I find Abby. Like, I'm not going home. You can go home. You, Tommy, you take Dina, go home. I am gonna do this on my own. That's what it should have been what happened, instead of Ellie being like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll go home with you guys, but then goes white whale or whatever the heck the clue was.
The Ferris wheel and
the
aquarium
like,
and stuff.
Oh, that's where Abby is. I'm going to get Abby. And then it's the whole community, thing. And then
it's like she's suddenly reminded of her mission every single episode, and that's when she gets serious, when it should have been like that from the get-go. Same with being the loose cannon thing. Like, that only comes up whenever she's with somebody like Dina, where Dina has to remind her, like, don't kill anybody or don't be just out here shooting. And then you have that scene with Jesse in this episode where the Scar kid is getting trapped by the wolves and stuff, and she wants to go out and kill them all, and Jesse's like, no, like, I don't care what you have to do, like, they made their own choices. Like, we can't get involved. There's 6 of them, 2 of us. Exactly. So it's like, why is this only coming up when she's with people and not like by herself? Because if she's by herself, there's nobody there to stop her from just, going gung-ho in and firing off or doing whatever. Like, it seems like this only comes up when she's with other people.
Yeah.
Like, other than that,
she's hoping somebody stops her. She's like,
exactly.
If I'm with
Other
somebody's
never
gonna stop
carefree.
Me.
Yeah, she's never jumping in the harm's way just by herself for some reason, even though that's how her character is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
it's like it only happens because they need it to happen in the show. It doesn't seem natural.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, I mean, I think the final thing we could talk about is, I guess, talk about what we think is going to happen next season. But to be honest, I think based on what we saw the conclusion of the episode is it's gonna be Abby's journey over those 3 days.
Yeah, I'm not excited to be honest. And I mean, I liked and I love the game, and I even after playing it a second time, I don't mind Abby playing as her and her story. But for people that aren't a fan of the games, I feel like this is gonna like it's gonna kind of put them off a little bit. It's gonna be weird because you've been following Ellie and her story for 2 seasons now, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have a whole season like barely focused on her whatsoever, or not even
Yep.
involving her at all. So I feel like that's gonna really throw people off. And I understand it did that same thing to the people that played the game initially, but like there's a lot more to the game. There's a lot more action, there's a lot more lore building, like the notes and stuff. There's a lot
Yeah.
more stuff that's involved with the game that you're not going to get in the show where it's just like, okay, I don't really know who these character is, or I care because I hate them because they killed Joel. You don't really want to stick around. Where it's like in the game, after the first couple hours of playing with Abby or whatever, you kind of maybe can see what's going on, and then you're kind of down for the ride. I understand that wasn't the case for everybody. A couple of my buddies that even played it stopped playing it at that point when you're playing as Abby and everything. So I completely understand that, but I feel like it's not going to work nearly as well within the show medium as in the game.
I agree. I think it's gonna get to the point where people are just be like, "Why this has to be a whole season?" Like,
Yeah.
like I get if it's sprinkled in between like what's going on in current and then have the whole like Abby journey, or even have it be like the first few episodes of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't really need to be all 8, let's say 7, 8 episodes of the season. Just be Abby doing whatever she's doing, and because it's going to be her dealing with Isaac, it's going to be her dealing with her group, it's going to be her discovering all the different deaths, finding out Nora's dead and Mel and Owen and all that stuff. And so it's, I'm going to be here for it.
Yeah.
I hope it goes in a positive direction, but it's going to be tough because, like, yeah, I think you're going to lose a lot of people with season
Mm-hmm.
3.
I lost
And
a lot of people just with the finale. Like
oh
they
yeah,
dropped like 3 million viewers or something with the finale. It's
yeah,
insane.
it's wild. It's wild how
Um,
a show can be on such a high and then it just completely
yeah,
collapse on
within
itself.
7 weeks, it's insane.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I wish they would have kind of found a way to. I don't know if it would have been possible. Maybe find a way to kind of tell those stories somewhat simultaneous. That way, you didn't have to split them up into one season with Ellie, one season with Abby. Like you could have had Seattle Day One split into like 2 episodes where like one half of the episode is focused on Ellie, the other half is like on Abby or something like that. That way you're kind of telling these stories simultaneous, and then by the season finale, you have that meeting at the theater, and then you go from there in the next season. I don't know. I wish they would have been able to do that simultaneously. That way it doesn't feel as jarring coming into the end of this episode and next season where it's like, yep, we're just gonna be focusing on Abby and these crew of people you don't like whatsoever,
yep,
who you barely even know. Where it's like in the game, you at least kind of know these characters a little bit more than you do now at this point, as
yeah.
far as like Abby and her crew. Where it's like you've only seen them for like at max like 10 minutes this whole season.
Yeah. The one
Yeah, and
positive
then
that I will give the show over the game is there's not a lot of dog death in this compared to the
yeah,
games. A lot of dogs die in the game.
yeah.
And
So that's a plus.
yeah, it's a plus. I remember playing the game for the first time, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. Why are you making me do this? Then there's one scene where you kill one of their dogs, and then you see it later, like because you're with Abby, and it's
Yeah.
like the beforehand, and you're like, why you do this to me, game? Why you gotta do this to me? That's a punch in the
But that's
face,
good
dude.
storytelling,
It
though.
is.
That's
It
that
is
good
though.
story.
It
Like,
is.
that's what they're missing from the show, man. And that's why I'm a little worried, like, because Mason's even like, we have to have a season 4. You can't tell everything within 3 seasons. It has to be 4 seasons. So it's like season 4 only going to be like 3, 4 episodes, like
Right.
because there's really not much to the back half of that game once you tell what we're going to be seeing on this season and season 3,
Yeah.
unless they add a lot.
Don't worry, he'll fill it in.
So I feel like it's only going to be like 5 episodes for the 4th season or something.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, hopefully season 3 drops, in 2026, so it's not like a huge gap.
Hopefully.
So we can
'Cause that's gonna be even more off-putting. You wait a year and a half, 2 years just to have a
oh,
season with just Abby, you're really not gonna have a lot of viewers at that point.
nope. Nope. People will be tuned out. They will be over it. And it sucks because like you want to try to get people into the show,
Mhm.
and based on what we've talked about, like people are just like, why would I don't want to start this now. And that's kind of how I feel about Game of Thrones. Like I've always wanted to watch Game of Thrones, but I'm always like, yeah, well, that final season exists, and I really don't want to invest all that time to then be absolutely disappointed with that final season.
Don't let it deter you. Listen, I don't like the last season as like much like everybody else. There's still parts of it I like, but dude, Game of Thrones is so fucking good. Like it's 8 seasons, and I say like 6 of them are like top notch, some of the best TV out there. So I mean, I would say at least give it a watch, at least a one-time watch. You may have a different opinion from other people. I think there's definitely some good things to be had in those later seasons. The ending, like the final episode, is definitely one to be mad about. But Game of Thrones is still one of my top shows of all time. I love that show.
Yeah,
But I'm
someday.
hoping they don't. I'm hoping they don't really kind of go that route with this show here.
The thing is
Who
we're
knows
already
though?
2
Things
seasons
can
in
change.
though, and we're already at this point where we're like, ugh, the writing, why?
Exactly.
So
And so maybe if they don't have season 3 written already, maybe they can try kind of course correct, make some adjustments if they have to. Who knows? Because there's a lot that can change in a couple years. So maybe by season 3, season 4, Druckmann will be like, "Hey, Last of Us Part 3 is being made by us. We're gonna have more show for you. Here you go."
yeah, you
So who
think?
knows? Anything
Eh,
could happen.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know how excited I'd be if they dropped a third game. I'd be like, the second game ended exactly how I
Yeah.
wanted it to.
I
So
mean, after the first time playing the second game, I want more, but after
mhm,
replaying it again, I'm like, I'm okay with it ending like this.
yeah.
It's not supposed to have like a happy ending.
Well, I think that's all we really need to say about this
Yeah,
episode, this season. It's been a rough one, but
it has
hopefully
been,
it'll
man.
improve. Hopefully it'll improve next
Started
season.
off
So
like we were
yeah.
excited, like first 2 episodes or so, like, yeah, look, I'm ready for the rest of the season. Boy, we were wrong.
So yeah. I mean, that's it for The Last of Us season 2. We'll try to, hopefully we'll be back for episode or for season 3,
Yeah,
talking more
definitely
Last of
trying to do that.
Us. I have some other shows that I do want to cover down the road. Twisted Metal season 2 is coming out, and the only reason I want to cover that show is because the first my coverage of the first season is like one of the most downloaded episodes of my entire show. So why not see if I can hit gold twice?
Exactly, keep it up.
And in Alien Earth, I have talked
Oh,
about
yeah, I forgot
possibly
about that.
covering that show. So
I'd be down to do that with you, man.
that would be a good time.
Definitely be
I'm
watching that one.
very intrigued. I think that's out in June. And then I think Twisted Metal is out end of, I don't know. They probably come out around the same time, which will be even way harder to do. But
Way more work for you to do.
yeah, we'll see how it goes. Do you like it? Like us going through the episode, episode per episode, or would you like us to just cover an entire season at the end? Let us know down in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on The Last of Us season 2. If you're a
Yes.
gamer, how you feeling? If you're not a gamer, how you feeling? I want to know all your thoughts. And just speak your mind, people. We want to hear your thoughts. Like, it's okay. You're not going to offend us if you didn't like it,
Yeah,
because guess what? We weren't fans of it either. So,
exactly.
all right. Well, Wyatt, thank you so much for joining me for all these episodes and being
Absolutely,
part
dude.
of this journey. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
What do you got going on at Cinema Trip Review?
Yes, this week I am finally releasing the Akira review with Paul and Dustin from the Flicks and Friends podcast. Also got a review of the new movie Friendship in the works, starring Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. I actually got to see that over the weekend, so I'm going to be working on a review for that. And also, you and Dan came on the show to talk about Equilibrium, which that'll
Ooh,
probably be premiering here in June at some point.
very nice. Yes. What a conversation that was. What a movie.
It was, yeah. So that should be a fun one as well. So we got a lot of content planned.
Very cool. Everything Cinema Trip Reviews will be down in the description of the video or in the show notes. So make sure to check Wyatt's show out, because it's a good time. He puts a lot of work into it, and he does it all on his own. So support the solo podcasters, because it's hard. I've done it a few
It's hard out
times.
here,
It's
man.
hard.
It's hard out here, man.
Talking
And
to yourself is hard.
It's the hardest part is doing the solo reviews. And I still got like a Patreon set up that I need to like make extra stuff for and finally put stuff onto. So that's been in the works for a while now. I just have to make the time and sit down on a weekend and like edit all these extra stuff to put on Patreon.
Yeah. My list of things to do, it grows and grows. And I'm like, when do I
by
have
the
the
day.
time for this? Never. But here we
Nope.
are. As for us, currently you can check out our 4-year anniversary live stream. You can watch it over on YouTube. And the audio is also out. If you don't like to watch YouTube, you can listen to the audio version of the live stream. We have our current Monster Zone episode on Yongari out right now, and you guys will have this. And then on Friday will be our Weird Science episode with Tony from Hack the Movies. So very excited for that one, celebrating 40 years. It's crazy that movie is 40 years old.
That is crazy.
Wild stuff. So yeah, that is what we got going on here at Dissect That Film. Yeah, all of our links will also be down in the description and in the show notes. So make sure to follow us, follow Cinema Trip Reviews. Make sure that he's got a link tree you can check out, which that will be in the description as well. You can check out our link tree. It'll have all of our links to all of our social medias, to our Patreon, to our merch store, all of that fun stuff. So there we go. There's my selling point to you all. Because it's time to get out of here. It's time to go watch some more TV, movies, whatever we have to do. But it's all done for The Last of Us Season 2.
Finally.
Until next time, everybody, I am Brett Parker. That is Wyatt from Cinema Trip Reviews, and this has been the final episode of Slice of TV for The Last of Us. We'll see you all again next time. Bye.